Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Tom, for your presentation. That's much appreciated. And along with David, did really appreciate being invited to the Co-ops UK event after the general election. I wanted to mention this to colleagues because I thought it's really important. We all got together, everyone who had been invited, in Manchester, and had the chance to talk about how we would work with, encourage, support, etc., the new government to take forward all these cooperative ideas. And lots of us have thrown in all sorts of ideas, and I was one who took the view. I said I was fairly relaxed about it because I realised it was sort of negotiable what we would get and what we wouldn't get. So I was not too worried about that. It was a matter of how we take it forward, and I took a very serious view about it though because it was a once in a lifetime opportunity. Hopefully, less than once in a lifetime. It can happen again, but we can't be sure when these sort of opportunities arise. So the first sort of question I wanted to ask you was a bit direct. How is that progressing? Because I know we sent to you lots and lots of thoughts and ideas, and I realised you'd have a difficult role trying to pull all these sort of thoughts and ideas together to make something of it to get us all on board. I did expect there would be a meeting, but I didn't know when. I thought there would be one before Christmas, perhaps, and it could be a Zoom meeting, whether it was an attendance job, where we sort of took forward some sort of set of ideas. But again, it's how the mechanics of that are done. But I think we need to discuss it partly because of UK role, the whole of the UK trying to work cooperative side to work with the government. But then, subject to it working well in the UK and through Manchester and through your good offices, the question then came, to what extent does it feed into Wales so that we can say we can do something on a smaller scale version? Because me and David were there, and yes, there were a few other people like from Compass, but whether or not we need to replicate, or whether we just let this Manchester operation cover for all of us, or whether we've got to do something different in Wales. So that is the topic I wanted to engage with you in this sort of a meeting. So I don't know what's your reaction to that, Tom?
In terms of another meeting, I don't exactly know what we're up to on that. So it was Cheryl as chair of our board who really wanted to put everyone together and have a conversation that was non-political, so to speak, and take Co-op Party officially out of the room. For reasons, as you remember, there's certain people who are skeptical of the benefit that we provide to the movement. There, hey, I disagree. Conversation for another day. In terms of where we are in terms of another meeting, I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go away and double check. Partly what's happened is capacity. What those conversations did feed into that growth strategy that we are aiming to publish. And one of the big takeaways we took from that, particularly from John Afton at workers.coop, was there is a need for they didn't want to be in the room again. They didn't felt they need to be in the room because it felt like a policy conversation and they don't do policy, so they didn't need to be there. But they were glad they were invited. The general takeaway is really that um, we need to do a lot better collaboration. Partly that's we need to talk to Compass, but also it's partly we need to talk to Community Energy England. We need to talk to co-op finance. We need to talk to CCH because each of us are making our own individual noises to government, and we just need to make sure that that's being collectively and joined up. So where we're up to that, I don't 100% know, and I will find out and double check for you. But in terms of whether you want to replicate it, sort of at a smaller scale in Wales, that might be something that might be worth doing. I don't know. I mean, I think we would be interested in being in that conversation if you did decide to do it, but that would really be a conversation for you guys to have with Compass, as they're the ones leading on policy and influencing ahead of the next Senate election. So I would pick up a conversation with do you know Dan Compass, who's the policy officer there?
We do.
Yeah, you know Dan. I'd pick up a conversation with Dan, and that would be what I would suggest doing, as whether it is worth having a coordinated strategy in Wales on influencing. It sounds like there probably would be a good idea to have that. But one of the things that I think you'll remember that had in that conversation for every other's benefit, I think is really important for what we do is whatever we say to governments or any form of government needs to be don't make co-ops a problem that ministers and civil servants need to solve. Because nothing good comes out of it when you are just another policy problem. Because ministers and civil servants have got enough policy problems to deal with. They don't need us to be a pain with our shopping list of things that we want them to fix. Because they aren't interested and they will just go, they'll tell us to go away. But what we can do, and we did publish, people find it on our website. If you go Cooperatives UK, you can find our budget response. We talk about it there, and it's really important is we don't want to be a problem for government to fix. We want to be the solution to government's problems. So we want government to explore cooperative and mutual solutions to existing public policy problems. And a really good example of that is retrofit and community energy. So we know that there is an absolute need to retrofit an awful lot of homes and buildings just to get them carbon neutral. That's what the key parts of delivering carbon neutral and reaching net zero will just be getting homes that are insulated, homes that are sustainable, the homes of the future. And that requires a lot of money and investment into that. But one of the really good, exciting models in Manchester's got it, and it has been copied up in Glasgow, is the idea of retrofit cooperatives, which is the idea of the community coming together to collectively grow the demand and the supply for retrofit at the same time. So one of the big problems in the retrofit sector is you haven't got enough people who are interested in retrofitting their homes at the moment, so there aren't enough contractors able to do the work. And then there aren't enough contractors able to do the work, so those who do want to do it can't do it, and the whole thing is just a vicious cycle. So one of the big ideas is to create a community-based cooperative that is owned by both the suppliers of the retrofit and the households that want to be retrofitted. And the idea being that you will then collectively build them together, and that provides the persuasion in order to encourage people to retrofit their homes. It's not a top-down, here's money, we're just going to give you you can get a discount on getting solar panels. That doesn't provide that persuasion, that community ownership aspect and feel that's really important for the local on the ground persuasion that encourages people. Oh, Jones is having their house with solar panels via this co-op. Oh, that's a thing we should be a part of. Not there's just a government scheme and government telling you need to do this. That doesn't really work, and the top-down approach isn't going to fix it. You need one-stop shops for retrofit that connect everyone up with the suppliers, and a cart model is a really good way of doing that. So partly, you've got the warm homes plan is for the UK government that partly feeds into that. That's something the Welsh government needs to consider and how it can build on that model, learn lessons from existing co-ops that are doing things. The other part of that is obviously community energy. And community energy obviously can't sell directly to the grid at the moment. That's something we'd like a UK government to change and fix. But additionally, you need community energy to be connected in with that. And, it needs to be connected into retrofitting homes. And the whole thing needs to be an all-encompassing model of doing sustainability differently and doing energy in a cooperative fashion. And then the final sort of piece to the jigsaw is credit unions. So you have got some fairly strong credit unions in parts of Wales. Credit unions are crucial in providing that small scale finance that can support other co-ops to do it. The borrowing and the lending at the small scale that comes from a credit union. So really, you want to see that all joined up. Now, we are going to be publishing a report, hopefully soon, an update on our old retrofit report, again, on how retrofit can work and how that can be a solution. We want all policymakers to take, including local authorities. We want local authorities to take it seriously and how they can work with and support it. But one of the really big things that essential that if you do have conversations with Compass or whatever conversations you have locally in terms of what you do, or even just what you do as the Welsh Cooperative Party in any conversations that you're having with the Labour Party and any conversations that you want to have with ministers is it can't be a problem. Co-ops can't, you can't just turn up with our nice shopping list of lovely ideas that would all make the world a lovely, fairer place because it's not going to fly. But if you say, we know that this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem, and look, there are co-op answers to your problems, well, then that sounds interesting. You can make the world a fairer place and fix other problems at the same time. Now, that sounds like a winning formula to a minister.